For thousands of years, the galaxy belonged to them, the ancient alien empires that ruled with absolute power. They built civilizations, waged wars, and shaped the very fabric of the cosmos, believing themselves to be the first and the last supreme beings. But they were wrong, because something was coming. Something they never expected. Humans. Not as primitive creatures lost in the void, but as something far more dangerous. Something evolved. And when the humans came back, the galaxy would never be the same again. For thousands of years, the galaxy was under the control of powerful alien civilizations that had expanded their influence across the stars. These empires, consisting of the Zolari, the Vornak, and the Ithral Dominion, ruled over countless worlds, shaping the destiny of entire species. They saw themselves as the rightful rulers of the universe, believing that no other intelligent beings could match their strength, wisdom, or technological advancements. The Zolari were a race of highly intelligent beings with vast mental abilities. They had built massive floating cities that hovered over the surfaces of planets, powered by advanced energy sources that could last for thousands of years. Their vast libraries contained knowledge older than many stars, and they considered themselves the architects of galactic civilization. To them, order and control were the most important principles, and they saw other species as mere subjects meant to serve under their guidance. The Vornak were a warrior race, known for their unmatched physical strength and strategic warfare. They conquered planets through brute force and ruled with an iron grip. Their fleets of enormous warships patrolled the galaxy, ensuring that no uprising could threaten their rule. The Vornak believed in the survival of the fittest, and to them, weakness was unacceptable. Any species that could not defend itself was absorbed into their empire, forced to obey their laws and serve their cause. The Ithral Dominion was a vast empire built on technology and innovation. The Ithral were master engineers, creating machines and artificial intelligence far beyond the understanding of most civilizations. Their automated cities and robotic armies maintained order across their controlled worlds, making rebellion nearly impossible. They had created a utopia for themselves, but for the lesser species under their control, it was a life of servitude and obedience. Under the rule of these mighty alien empires, the galaxy remained in balance. The strong ruled and the weak followed. The Zolari brought knowledge, the Vornak enforced power, and the Ithral maintained technological superiority. Together, they shaped a galaxy where their dominance was unquestioned, and no one dared to challenge their authority. Throughout the ages, many lesser species attempted to resist their control, but all had failed. Some tried to rebel, only to be swiftly crushed by the overwhelming might of the ruling empires. Others sought to escape, hoping to find sanctuary in the unexplored regions of space, but they were always hunted down and brought back under control. To the Zolari, Vornak, and Ithral, the galaxy was theirs by right, and they would not allow any force to disrupt their rule. For centuries, they believed they had achieved the ultimate form of order. The idea that another power could rise against them was unimaginable. In their minds, they had reached the peak of civilization, and nothing could ever change that. But the universe is always full of surprises. Far beyond their reach, something was beginning to awaken. A force that had been forgotten, a force that was about to return. For centuries, the powerful alien civilizations of the galaxy believed that humanity had vanished. They considered humans to be a primitive and insignificant species, incapable of surviving in the vastness of space. To them, humans were nothing more than a fleeting existence, a species that had failed to evolve in a universe ruled by superior beings. However, the truth was far different from what they had assumed. Humanity had not perished. It had endured. Long ago, a small group of humans had escaped into the unexplored regions of space, far beyond the reach of the dominant alien empires. These humans were forced to survive in the harshest conditions imaginable. They settled on planets with extreme climates, where the air was thin, the gravity was crushing, and the environment was filled with deadly creatures. Every day was a battle for survival, and only the strongest, smartest, and most adaptable individuals thrived. Their technology, once far behind that of the great alien empires, advanced at an astonishing rate. Without interference from external forces, they created weapons, starships, and artificial intelligence that surpassed anything the galaxy had ever seen. Humanity was no longer just another species. It had become something more. For centuries, the lost human colonies remained hidden in the darkness of space, silently watching the galaxy from afar. They observed the powerful alien empires, studying their strengths and weaknesses. They learned their tactics, their politics, and their technological limitations. They analyzed every battle, every strategy, and every mistake made by the ruling species. Humanity was not simply preparing to return, it was preparing to rise. The moment of return was not marked by grand announcements or peaceful diplomacy. It began with silence. The disappearance of an entire Zilari research station near the edge of the galaxy. Then, a Vornak battleship patrolling a remote sector vanished without a trace. At first, the alien empires believed it was a mere accident, a malfunction in their systems. But as more ships and outposts disappeared, fear began to spread among the ruling species. When the humans finally revealed themselves, they did so with precision and overwhelming force. The first battle was not a battle at all, it was an eradication. A massive Ithral war fleet, confident in its technological superiority, was ambushed and destroyed in mere moments. Their most advanced ships, once thought to be indestructible, were torn apart by human weapons that defied all known physics. The galaxy trembled as the lost species made its presence known. The rulers of the galaxy had always believed themselves to be the peak of evolution, but they had never faced an enemy like this before. Humanity had returned, and it was no longer the weak species they once ignored. The galaxy had always been ruled by the strongest civilizations. The Zilari, the Vornak, and the Ithral Dominion had maintained control for thousands of years, believing that no force could ever challenge their supremacy. However, they had never faced an enemy like humanity before. When the first signs of human activity appeared, the ruling empires dismissed them as minor disturbances. They believed that no forgotten species could ever rise to threaten their reign. But they were wrong. Humanity's return was not a slow and gradual process. It was sudden, precise, and overwhelming. The first strike came without warning. A heavily fortified Zilari outpost, located on the edge of their territory, was the first to fall. Its powerful energy shields, which had withstood countless attacks over centuries, were shattered within moments. The Zilari defenders, confident in their technological superiority, were unprepared for the speed and efficiency of the human assault. Before they could even send a distress signal, the outpost had been completely destroyed. Word of the attack spread quickly, but many alien leaders remained unconcerned. They believed it was the work of rogue elements or pirates using stolen technology. To them, humanity was nothing more than an outdated species from forgotten history. They could not accept the possibility that humans had returned as a powerful force. But as more attacks followed, the reality became undeniable. The Vornak Empire was the next to suffer. A fleet of their warships patrolling the outer territories was ambushed in deep space. The humans did not engage in direct combat like traditional enemies. Instead, they used advanced stealth technology to disable communication systems, blind enemy sensors, and render entire fleets vulnerable. Before the Vornak warriors could react, their ships were systematically destroyed. The once feared warlords of the Vornak Empire found themselves completely outmatched by an enemy they had never considered a threat. The Vornak, believing in the strength of warriors, launched a counterattack with their most elite soldiers. Their battle-hardened forces, each warrior bred for combat, engaged the humans in direct warfare. However, they were not prepared for the level of coordination and precision that humanity had achieved. The Vornak relied on brute strength and traditional military formations, while humanity used advanced combat suits, enhanced reflexes, and artificial intelligence-assisted tactics. Every time the Vornak forces engaged, they found themselves overwhelmed by the sheer speed and efficiency of human fighters. The once feared warriors of the Vornak Empire faced an enemy that had turned battle into a science. The Ithral Dominion, masters of artificial intelligence and robotics, unleashed their most advanced war machines, hoping to crush the human resistance through sheer technological superiority. They deployed entire armies of autonomous drones, mechanized soldiers, and self-replicating warships. However, Humanity had evolved beyond reliance on machines alone. Their cyber warfare capabilities allowed them to take control of enemy systems, turning Ithral technology against its creators. In battle after battle, the Ithral forces lost control of their own weapons, as human hackers infiltrated their networks and rendered their vast robotic legions useless. As the war raged on, it became clear that this was not just a fight for power. It was a battle between an old order that refused to change and a new force that had mastered adaptation. The ruling species had stagnated, believing that their way was absolute. Humanity had proven that true strength came not from dominance, but from the ability to evolve. The galaxy had never witnessed a war like this before. And by the end of it, only the most advanced species would remain standing. The War of Evolution had reached its climax. The once powerful alien empires that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years were now crumbling. Their fleets were shattered, their strongholds had fallen, and their confidence had turned into fear. Humanity, once thought to be an extinct species, had not only returned, but had proven to be the most adaptable force the galaxy had ever seen. However, victory was not the end. It was the beginning of something far greater. With the destruction of the old ruling order, a power vacuum spread across the galaxy. The surviving members of the Zilari, the Vornak, and the Ithral Dominion struggled to rebuild what was left of their civilizations. Many of their people had never known a life without the control of their leaders. Now, they found themselves lost in a galaxy that no longer belonged to them alone. The Ithral Dominion, known for its mastery of artificial intelligence and mechanized warfare, attempted to counter the rising threat with its vast robotic armies. They deployed thousands of automated war machines to defend key planets, believing that no biological force could overcome their technology. However, humanity had evolved beyond anything the Ithral had prepared for. With unmatched precision, human cyber warfare units infiltrated and shut down entire networks, turning the Ithral's own machines against them. Cities that had once been controlled by the Ithral Dominion fell into silence as their automated defenses were deactivated one by one. Panic spread across the great alien empires. For the first time in history, they were facing an opponent that was not only powerful, but also unpredictable. Humanity did not fight for conquest or resources. They fought with a purpose that the ruling species could not comprehend. They struck where the enemy was weakest, using intelligence, speed, and superior strategy to dismantle the once invincible alien dominions. The first strike was not just a battle. It was a message. Humanity had returned, and they were not here to negotiate. They were here to reclaim what was once theirs. The first strike had shaken the foundation of the great alien empires. Humanity had returned with power and precision, dismantling key defenses and proving that they were no longer the weak species of the past. However, the war was far from over. The ruling alien civilizations, despite their initial shock, were not willing to surrender their control of the galaxy so easily. What began as a series of targeted human attacks now escalated into a full-scale war, one that would determine the true rulers of the galaxy. The war was unlike any that had come before. It was not fought over territory, resources, or political disputes. It was a war of evolution. The alien empires had ruled for thousands of years, believing that they had reached the peak of technological and biological advancement. But humanity had evolved beyond expectations, adapting in ways the galaxy had never seen. The conflict was no longer just a battle of weapons and numbers. It was a test of which species had truly mastered the art of survival. The Zilari, known for their vast intelligence and mental abilities, attempted to outthink the humans. They devised complex strategies, predicting possible human attacks with advanced artificial intelligence and ancient knowledge. They created psychic networks, linking their greatest minds to form a singular consciousness capable of processing millions of calculations in an instant. But no matter how many scenarios they calculated, humanity continued to surprise them. The humans did not rely on predictable patterns or outdated tactics. They adapted in real time, learning from every encounter and evolving their methods with every battle. Humanity did not seek revenge or destruction. They understood that true power did not come from ruling with fear, but from creating a future where all species could thrive together. They had evolved not only in technology and strength, but in understanding. Instead of repeating the mistakes of the past, humanity set out to build something new, a galactic order based on cooperation, knowledge, and progress. The first step was establishing stability. Humanity reached out to the remnants of the fallen empires, offering peace instead of continued war. Many alien species, having witnessed the adaptability and intelligence of humanity, chose to join them rather than fight. Together, they worked to rebuild worlds that had been devastated by war. Cities that once stood as symbols of oppression were now transformed into centers of learning and innovation. The Galactic Council was formed, a governing body that included representatives from all species willing to work toward a shared future. Humanity did not place itself above others, but instead ensured that no single species would ever hold absolute power again. Decisions were made through discussion and understanding, rather than through conquest and control. The mistakes of the past would never be repeated. With advanced technology, humanity introduced new ways of travel, communication, and development. They helped weaker civilizations grow without forcing them into servitude. They shared knowledge rather than hoarding it. They encouraged evolution, both biological and technological, so that no species would ever become stagnant again. Not all were willing to accept this new way. Some remnants of the old empires still clung to their beliefs, refusing to acknowledge the change. However, they soon realized that resistance was meaningless. The galaxy had moved forward, and those who refused to adapt were left behind. For the first time in recorded history, the galaxy was no longer ruled by fear, but by progress. The age of absolute domination had ended, and a new era had begun. The humans, once forgotten and underestimated, had reshaped the future. The galaxy now stood at the dawn of a new order. An order built not on who was the strongest, but on who was willing to evolve. The galaxy had changed forever. The era of dominance and fear had ended, replaced by a future shaped by unity, knowledge, and evolution. Humanity had not returned for conquest, but to create something greater than war. A civilization where all species could grow and thrive together. The lessons of the past had been learned, and a new era had begun, built on understanding and cooperation. As the stars continued to shine over countless worlds, the message was clear. True strength was not in power alone, but in the ability to adapt, learn, and build a future where all could exist in harmony.